Most people think Mercedes-Benz was always successful. It's one of the oldest and luxurious car manufacturers in the world, worth around $80 billion. But its story begins with poverty, rejection, and failure. Stay with me, because this story is more powerful than you think. It all starts with the poor engineer who faces lots of failures making first horseless carriage. He proved everyone wrong and creates world's largest and successful car production company in late 19th century. Today we are sharing the story of men who innovated the vehicle industry. Long before the name Mercedes-Benz meant luxury, power, and status, Carl Friedrich Benz was born in November 1844 in Germantown, Mulberg. His father was a driver and barely managed expense. However, at the age of 2, his father died and his family faces serious financial crises. There was a quiet boy growing up in a small German town where life was anything but easy. His world was simple, often uncertain, and shaped by loss at an early age. When he was still too young to understand what death truly meant, his father passed away. In a single moment, the family lost its support, its income, and its sense of security. What remained was a mother and her young son, facing a future filled with hardship. Money was always scarce. Every decision mattered. Every meal, every book, every step forward required sacrifice. The boy's mother worked tirelessly, determined that her son would not be defeated by the circumstances he was born into. She believed education could offer him a path out of poverty, even when the world around them suggested otherwise. That belief became the foundation of everything that followed. The boy was different from others his age. While many children played without concern for the future, he spent long hours observing how things worked. Wheels fascinated him. Movement fascinated him. The idea that machines could do more than people imagined quietly took root in his mind. He did not yet know how, but he felt strongly that motion, mechanics, and engines held answers to problems the world had accepted for centuries. As he grew older, life did not become easier. Poverty followed him into adulthood. Education opened his mind, but not doors. When he tried to turn knowledge into opportunity, failure met him again and again. Businesses collapsed before they could stand. Partnerships ended in betrayal. Loans turned into crushing debt. At times, it felt as though every step forward pushed him 2 steps back. There were days when he questioned himself. Days when doubt whispered that maybe the world was right and his dreams were foolish. He watched others succeed through safer paths while he struggled just to stay afloat. His situation became so dire that his wife, Bertha, sold her personal belongings to help them survive. It was a quiet sacrifice, made without complaint, but it weighed heavily on him. People around him were not kind. They laughed at his obsession with machines. They mocked the idea that engines could replace horses, something humanity had relied on for centuries. To them, his ideas sounded dangerous, unnecessary, and unrealistic. To him, they were the future. He refused to give up. At a time when roads echoed with hooves and carts, he imagined something entirely different. A vehicle that could move on its own. No animal, no reins, just mechanical power. It was an idea so radical that most dismissed it immediately. But he continued working, experimenting late into the night, adjusting parts, testing designs, learning from each failure rather than running from it. Years passed before progress finally appeared. And when it did, it wasn't perfect. The machine he built was noisy, slow, and fragile. But it moved. For the first time, a gasoline-powered vehicle carried itself forward without a horse. It was a small moment in history, unnoticed by most, but it marked the beginning of a transformation the world had yet to understand. Still, success did not arrive. People were afraid of the invention. Some laughed, some ignored it. Others warned it would never be safe or practical. Once again, he stood alone with his belief, wondering if the world would ever catch up. It was his wife, Bertha, who changed everything. Without seeking permission or attention, she decided to prove the invention's value. She took the vehicle on a long journey through towns and villages, becoming the first person in history to drive such a distance. Along the way, she repaired breakdowns, solved problems on the spot, and adapted the machine in ways that improved it forever. People watched in disbelief as the strange machine passed by, carrying not just a person, but a promise of something new. When she returned, the world had changed its tone. Curiosity replaced mockery. Interest replaced doubt. Slowly, orders began to come in. Recognition followed.